Okay, while we wait, I would like to welcome you all to our latest hackathon event, Pitch Perfect. I'm Mihna, community lead at Oasis, and I'll be guiding you through an evening that's all about celebrating creativity, innovation, and the boundless possibilities of the Oasis network. Before we dive into the event, I would like to welcome Matei Yanes, Business Development Manager, and later on, we'll have William Wendt, Ecosystem Growth Manager at Oasis. Welcome, Matei.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Minya. Great to be here.
I'm happy to have you here always.
I was just hoping this is going to be like a singing event or something, but unfortunately.
We're not going to have karaoke tonight.
Too bad, too bad.
Too bad. But yeah, thank you for being with us today. And we're here for something special, something that truly embodies the spirit of innovation and collaboration. As we speak, our Privacy4Web3 hackathon is in full swing, and we're witnessing an incredible surge of creativity. And we have over 760 participants so far. So yeah, the excitement is reaching new heights. And the momentum for our hackathon has been remarkable. It's truly a testament to the passion and dedication of our community members. But for those of you who might be new to this, the hackathon is all about bringing together ingenious minds to explore what can be developed on our network using either natively using Sapphire, the first and only confidential EVM that empowers Web3 with smart privacy, or OPL, the industry-leading EVM-compatible smart privacy solution that redefines how Web3 developers engineer confidential smart contracts. Now, as the hackathon gears up towards the finish line, I want everyone to remember that the submission deadline is September 13th. I think around 11 a.m. UTC. I might be wrong, but I think it's 11 a.m. UTC. And I want you to know that the possibilities are endless, and we really can't wait to see what gems our community brings to the table. So, truly exciting stuff. And as for the event we're hosting this evening, Pitch Perfect. As I said, it's about bringing and celebrating innovation from the community. So I want everyone to know who will be speaking on stage that they don't need to go into technical details. So just pitch your ideas that you think might be suited for either Sapphire or OPL. We'll have a prize pool of $300. The winners will be announced on Friday. And we want to bring this to the community. So the vote will be split in two percentages. 50% of the vote stands with our team, with our core team, and 50% with the community. So we'll be hosting a decentralized vote where the entire community can vote on which project they like best. So we'll be announcing this after the event ends, and you're able to cast your votes on which project you liked, of course. So with that, let's get ready for a night of ideas, inspiration, and unbridled creativity. And thank you, Matei, for joining us, and thank you to our incredible community for being the driving force behind everything that we do.
My pleasure, always, Minya.
Okay, do we have a first contender that would like to come up on stage? Just raise your hand. We can invite you on stage. Will joined us. Hi, Will. As I said, Will is Ecosystem Growth Manager at Oasis, so welcome, Will.
Is Will going to pitch first?
I think so. Will, do you have an idea for Sapphire? I think you're muted, Will. chatter in the stage channel chat. Come on, guys, don't be shy.
Are we starting with Kami?
Okay. Okay, now both lower their hands. Okay, DC, hi.
Hi,
Well,
can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. First of all, welcome, Mattia and Will. We don't see you much here over here, and many for all of you for organizing this event, because I think this is a splendid idea of getting the whole community together, and everyone pitching in ideas, and some of the ideas will be viable enough to become full on projects.
Yeah, thank you, DC, and I know you're a valued member of our community, and so thank you for being with us tonight. Can you tell us about your idea?
Yeah, basically my idea is about a DID solution, and a solution that can bring all kinds of Web3 dApps together. Any dApps that using the EVM mechanism, they can be all linked together. So I was thinking that maybe we can create a confidential NFT, which will be tokenizing all the data, all the information of the users, and you can use it like a soulbound token. And let's say that it contains all the tokenized data of a user. So every EVM wallet addresses, every EVM wallet balances will be there. So let us say that a user tries to log into a DeFi app, and when in a DeFi app they can conduct transactions for one wallet, they can conduct transactions on multiple wallets, also on multiple chains. So all that information that is there on their wallets will be in that SBT, and all the transactions that are taking place in real time will be updated in the SBT. Now, for this kind of dApp, when you use the SBT for this kind of dApp, there are certain permission levels that the confidential NFT can use, where the user shares certain data with the DeFi app, and rest of the data that the SBT contains will not be shared because that is not relevant to the DeFi app. Now, the SBT that I am thinking about contains all the users all information. So the same SBT can be used to log into a DAO also. But in a DAO, the exact same permission level that is needed in a DeFi will not be needed. There are different kind of permissions needed and different kind of access to information about the user will be needed. And for the same SBT with the confidential NFT, where you can customize your confidentiality or customize your access control, there the user can use that particular access control to operate in the DAO, where the user's reputation can be verified, where the user can cast votes on the proposal, maybe even help suggest proposals based on how reputed that person is inside the DAO. Once again, the SBT can be used in another way. It can be used in Web3 games, it can be used in metaverse, where the game levels, the achievements, or the avatars and collectibles that the game has or the metaverse has, they can all be stored inside there. And once again, the soulbound token has many multiple uses. The soulbound token can be used for healthcare, where the person's medical information is stored. So the user's medical information is stored in the soulbound token, but when the person is using the Web3 games, then that kind of information is not needed. So that kind of information will not be shared when the person is using Web3 games. So the customizable confidentiality can be used for different DeFi dApps, for different privacy settings. It's like a Google account. When you are using a Google account for your traditional internet, you log into any places, and you can customize your privacy settings. And one login and the second login, they are not interconnected. The only connection is the Google account. Same way that soulbound token will work. And I think that the recent talks and discussions we are having about account abstraction, that can be helped also, because when you are creating that soulbound token, the account, when the token is there, that account can be seedless, and there are many applications possible. That is what I feel. Now, you can tell me whether this idea is viable or not.
Well, I'm not. Sorry, Mate, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is definitely a good idea, DC, and I'm actually working with 2 projects right now. We're still in talks on how to utilize it, but one is more general, classic DID solution, with, as you kind of described it here, with a certain, maybe a token that represents certain data, on Sapphire. And then the other one is actually looking into biometrics, so adding biometrics to all of this data and authenticating with either face recognition or fingerprint. So this is definitely a viable idea, and we have a few projects that are thinking in this way, and looking to deploy on Sapphire.
Yeah, what one I wanted to say here is that I think there is an excellent opportunity of using OPL here, because with OPL you can use the same SBT for any EVM, therefore any EVM.
No,
Yeah, any
for
EVM
sure,
there.
DC. But you have to understand one thing, that OPL is more for having other applications reach Sapphire, or vice versa as well, right? So going to the other chain from Sapphire, right? So with an application like DID, where you need a lot of privacy, a lot of private data, it kind of makes more sense to deploy natively and then use OPL to share that data with other chains. So that's why this is more of a native deployment, and then using OPL to bridge it to other chains, and not vice versa, where you deploy this on another chain, and then go look at what's done on Sapphire. Of course, other dApps would do that. Essentially, from other chains, they would query data from Sapphire via OPL, but the core app would probably be deployed natively on Sapphire.
That is I wanted to say, but I did not express myself properly, perhaps.
Okay.
That you build it on Sapphire, but that can be accessible to anyone via OPL.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, DC, for sharing.
Will, can you hear us now? I guess still not. Okay, thank you so much, DC, for joining us and sharing your idea. Indeed, an amazing idea. Who's gonna speak next? I think Amio was first on stage. So Amio, if you wanna unmute.
Yeah, good day, everyone. Can be heard? Can anybody hear me?
Okay. Kumi, do you wanna go next?
Oh, I could hear you, Amio.
Hello, can I be heard?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I couldn't hear.
Okay.
I cannot
thank
hear
you, everyone,
him.
for being here. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. So, thank you for the opportunity. For me, I want to talk about the dApp that will bring about adoption, and that will bring about usage in Web2, because I believe that if the Web3 is all about solving a problem through Web3, then there may be this gap of not actually solving a problem that is existing prior to Web3. So I believe in that we solve that is in Web2, so that it will drive adoption. There is no need of searching or trying to find a solution or trying to bridge a gap. We are looking if there is actually a business in this gap. So the DApp that I'm talking about is a DApp that we have been all speaking throughout this week and then throughout this in this recent time about a smart wallet. So building a smart wallet with because we know signing transaction every time that you want to conduct a transaction and then trying to have a private and public may be so strenuous to Web2 natives, or let's say the local farmers and the local traders that may use this to pay for their goods and services. So it's application of local farmers and then local traders. They have transparency and thereby enabling what we call non-breaking of promises. So what will this DApp do? All the members of this organization will have access, and then because it's in the blockchain, they will be able to see who is making any transaction, because it will be a multi-sig, and they will see the amount that is in this balance, and then they will see the movement, who is contributing, and then where it's going to. If you are from Africa or in the West African region, you will know what I'm talking about, because we have seen a situation whereby group of people through the traditional means we connive and they move organization finance and the organizational fund or embezzle fund without the members of the organization knowing. So this will make sure that something like this won't exist. So these are applications of such smart wallet in this context. One is to make it seamless for Web2 natives and local traders and local farmers to conduct transactions both in border and then offshore. And then two is for organizations that are doing corporate contribution to be able to have a transparent proceedings, so that there will be no embezzlement of fund, and then there will be transparency, and then there will be promised, there will be truthful promise at the end of each proceedings. So this is the project or the DApp that I'm looking forward to see on Sapphire. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Samuel. I'd say this is quite a good application. Bringing an easier onboarding. For users that are more used to Web2, because we all know that even for the Web3 natives, it's sometimes the hassle when you need to create a new wallet. Save the seed phrase and all of that. Even we get lazy sometimes, and for let's say non-crypto users, that's something unimaginable almost, what they need to store, what they need to save. There's no forgot your password and reset. So a lot can be done by Sapphire, as you described. Account abstraction, especially helps with this, So we are looking at maybe deploying something that enables account abstraction. It's in the talks, in the works. But this is definitely a good idea, and it can be applied to many. So here you gave the example of the, let's say, the farmer trader, but this issue of adoption is quite generally problematic. Yeah, so definitely a good idea, and let's see if any project in the hackathon runs with this. It's going to be interesting to see.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samuel.
Thanks, Samuel, for joining us. Okay, who's next? Komi, do you want to go next?
Yeah, good day, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I don't want to waste much time. Just, I'll be expecting something like a desk in the ecosystem. If you look around, we lack that, and that is kind of hindering some part of adoption. some people don't usually like going through exchanges, doing KYC of a stuff. They prefer going through this, where they can swap a seconds, you know, a desk whereby we can get something like bridge. Maybe we can bridge from other EVM tokens. That will help push more adoption because we like that. And if you have been in the community, I see a lot of folks, joining, asking, okay, where is the desk, any desk, which is very important in the ecosystem to have a desk up and running. And so that's why I don't have much to say.
Yeah, thanks, Kami. If I can chip in here, so we completely agree. There are some projects that are kind of like the essential plumbing of every network, right? So DEX, an NFT marketplace, lending, borrowing marketplace, so bridging oracles, and we for sure know that the pace right now it's slightly different because it's a private EVM compatible runtime that's one of a kind basically. So it takes a little bit longer to deploy these things because you have the unique aspect of maybe private swaps or something like that, right? So we want to bring something unique, not just maybe a fork of Uniswap or something like that. And I can tell you that it's really close to being something being finalized, and we will have a DEX really soon, but we'll share more once we have everything in place. But yeah, we understand that the basic plumbing is needed. For the idea of bridging rows to other EVM projects, we already approached for that, but the thing is that it's always a question of what utility can rows on other chains bring, right? If you only hold it there, then there's also again maybe a risk of an exploit on that chain, or in that project that can actually hurt rows in ways more than it can bring value. Maybe it's an interesting topic when we start talking more about maybe liquid staking and being used as collateral for some lending, borrowing. So in that sense, for sure, it's interesting. But we are, here we rather move slow and be sure, that we partner up with the right projects and enable actual value and utility to the community, to the users, not just bridging tokens over to other chains for the sake of it, right? Because when you bridge it, there's always the risking the smart contracts of the bridge being exploited, right? And we want to avoid that, and try to keep everyone safe as possible.
Yeah, I quite understand. Like you say now, it's gonna put a lot of more adoption because when we have something like that, we have staking, maybe staking, liquidity farming, all of this, all of this that made up DeFi. That is one thing that push adoption an
Yeah, for
ecosystem.
sure, for sure. But you can't really stake rows or if it's bridged on Binance or Polygon, right? So you still need to somehow stake it natively, right? If it's just staking within a DEX protocol, that's different. But again, this is then dependent on the DEX itself, and of course, it's a decentralized network. So if anybody wants to do this, or thinks of bridging the tokens over, and deploying something that represents rows on, let's say, Ethereum or BNB chain or Polygon, we can't really stop anybody from doing that. But in terms of what we focus on and what we're looking to achieve, right, it's more in line of what I said before. We're trying to bring more value to the community with every step that we do, every partnership that we make. And for now, there wasn't really a good opportunity to do anything like that. But I do agree, rows on more chains would definitely bring some recognition, but it needs to have utility. If not, it's just maybe a risk, additional risk that it's not needed.
Yeah, thank you, Mate, and thank you, Kumi, for joining us. We're gonna go to the next guest. Who wants to go next? Josie Wealth or
Am I audible?
okay? Yeah, you can go next.
Yeah. Yeah. My name is Yushu. Hi, everyone. Uh,
Hi.
so my idea is actually about a collateralized multi-party lending platform. So I'm going to start off with the real world scenario, what's happening in the real world, that in order to get a loan for a specified amount of time, first we need to prove ourselves that we are credit worthy by providing some sort of documents or anything, and then it goes through the verification process and all, and then the lenders basically provide us the loan. In the case of blockchains, we know about flash loans and all, in which you have to just basically pay back the amount in the same transaction. But what I was thinking is that with OPL, with the confidentiality and the privacy that it brings in, now we can have this platform in which borrowers can actually get a loan from the lenders, but for a longer period of time. Like in a real world scenario, you don't always have to like pay back the amount in the same transaction until you leave. And basically, I've thought about some of the things in it, like the borrowers will basically put some sort of collateral in the form of crypto assets. Now, this collateral can actually be a package of many different types of crypto assets, like it can be a collection of some tokens, NFT tokens, and so on. And the true value of this package has to actually match the value of the loan that they are seeking. This true value can actually be calculated using third parties, pricing oracles, and all. Now, about the lending pools, I think that uh, each lending pool can consist of a single crypto asset, which is contributed by multiple lenders. For example, in the case of a decentralized exchange platform like Uniswap, we have different pools for different pairs of ERC20 tokens, which the liquidity is provided by different liquidity providers. In this case, also, we will have a single crypto asset which is contributed by multiple lenders. And now the multi-party competition part comes handy when, let's say that there are n number of lenders inside a pool, and some borrower asks for a loan. Borrowers provides all of his documents and all, and so what these lenders will basically do is that some m number of lenders out of the n will basically accept that this person is eligible to get a loan. And since these M lenders have a fund inside the lending pool, they are the ones that they will provide a loan to that borrower, and they will be the one that will profit from the interest that is paid back by the borrower. Now, if the borrower is unable to pay the loan amount, then we have that collateral in the beginning, which can actually be distributed among the lenders themselves. If the borrower is a default, the borrower is not able to pay the amount in a specified period of time. Also, prior to applying for a loan, what I was thinking is that the borrower is actually requested to submit some specific information to establish his credit worthiness. And this information can be in the form of like income, employment history, credit history, and all of these financial indicators. And since with the Sapphire paradigm, with the OPL, we have this privacy and confidentiality on the blockchain, so we can play around with these this data in an encrypted manner. And the borrowers could opt out to provide the alternative data such as transaction history from the different blockchains also. Now, all of this data is going to be submitted to some third parties. What I was thinking is that in order to verify the validity of that data, third party attesters can actually be used in this. These third party attesters will verify the accuracy of the data that is provided by the borrower, and they will generate an encrypted attestation. Now, this encrypted attestations can later be used by the lenders in order to check the validity of the data that is provided by the borrower. And on the basis of this encrypted attestations, they will decide if they want to lend that person a loan or not. And if the borrower is able to pay back the amount along with the interest in a specified period of time, then it will go to the M lenders of the pool. Uh, Also, for those M lenders, the borrowers, whenever associated with the borrower, and the borrower basically is going to provide the decryption key or the grant permission to the lenders, they will decrypt the documents, see if it is actually correct or not, and then evaluate the creditworthiness, and then gotch the loan. So this is like the basic idea. Some of the main key points in this idea is that it's a kind of a bank or Web3, and because of OPL, it provides this privacy-enabled lending, and because of the collateral options is diverse, is like a diversified crypto asset, so it has diverse collateral options. It has multi-party competition and real-world loan repayment period, not like flash loans and all. And because of OPL, it has privacy at its core. So this is the basic idea that I was thinking. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I guess Eshu that's how I'll say your Discord name.
Yes.
I guess could you explain again what you meant with the multi-party computation? Like where is NPC fitting into all this?
Yes. I will explain. Let's say that the pool consists of n number of lenders, right? And Alice applies for a loan. The third-party attesters are going to verify the document that is submitted by Alice, and they're going to put an encrypted attestation. Now we have an encrypted attestation that is submitted to the chain, and now since the lending pool consists of, like, let's say, some n number of lenders, uh, some M lenders, this M number is actually selected using the multi-party computation. So basically, like, all of them have to vote and they have to agree that, okay, this M can be the least, like the threshold number of lenders that is required in order to provide the loan. And these M number of lenders will basically check if the validity of the data is correct, and if it is correct, then they will basically sign in that they want to provide loan. And if some, like, let's say the threshold is 5 and the total number of lenders is 10, and we get 5 number of lenders who agree to provide the loan, then the loan will be initiated, and these 5 members will basically provide the loan and benefit from the interest that is paid back. Did you get it?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess like in terms of lending in general, like privacy plus lending is a pretty interesting idea in the sense that it allows for credit to be added on chain as well as things like real world assets and the ability to have like under collateralized loans, which obviously is you know s- the status quo in the traditional finance world, but something that's still sort of lacking in the Web3 environment. So yeah, I guess I'm pretty excited about what privacy and sort of DID type solutions will add to the lending market as we move forward in the industry.
Can I just ask one question? Yeah, I see that you mentioned
Yeah,
here
sure.
that you basically have you need to post collateral in order to get a loan, right?
Yes, we need like a package
Yeah.
of different crypto assets can
So
work as a
why
collateral
do you believe
for getting a loan.
the identity is then actually necessary if you're over collateralizing the loan? Well,
I'm sorry, can you
we
repeat the
have,
question?
let's say, if you look at Aave, right, or any other lending borrowing protocol, as you're over collateralizing the amount that you're actually borrowing, usually nobody asks for your identity and your credit score because you're putting up more than you're taking, right? And my question here is, if this is also a collateralized loan, why is the identity crucial here?
Okay, so your question is concerned that why do we need to hide the identity
Yeah,
of
because
the borrower
if
in this
it's an
case, right?
under collateralized loan, sure, yeah. Usually you want to do a credit check, credit score, or whatever. In the real world for crypto, I guess it's a different kind of worthiness calculation. But here, if it's collateralized, that's why I'm asking, why is the identity needed?
Well, if it is even collateralized in the form of crypto assets, there is always an option to provide other sort of information. That are the other sort of information can be like the income history and the employment history and the credit history and other financial indicators. And that's why I was basically thinking that we would need to like hide the details, maintain the privacy among the
So
borrowers.
you would hide completely the identity of the borrower. That's the idea here, or the lender, or both.
Yes, yes. So the identity is going to be hidden using OPL in two cases. The first one is of the borrower. The second one is among the lenders also, because let's say there are 10 lenders and the lenders start voting if they want to lend this borrower or not. So no other lender will be able to know if some other one, like which lender voted or not. So both of these scenarios like protected. Like there's always a question like why do we need to uh, if it is like already in the book, why do we need to hide the identities of these people? I think I get your question. I was actually thinking about this only, uh, but like this is one of the scenarios in which we can uh, provide loans for a
So
longer
here,
period of time
basically,
using Web3.
okay, hiding on-chain identity. Yeah, that can make sense. But yeah, maybe you don't even. I'm just saying about the personal details that are submitted and encrypted, as you mentioned on Sapphire. For those, I'm a bit wary if they were actually needed in an over collateralized situation. But yeah, thank you. I'm not gonna keep it longer. Thank you for the pitch.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And by the way, even if you guys are not developers, you can still register for the hackathon and share your ideas in the hackathon channel here on Discord. Maybe you'll find a team that will make your idea come to life. I think it's worth noting this. Okay, I think Jothy Wills was next. If you want to unmute yourself and tell us about your idea. Are you still? Yeah. We cannot hear you, just so you know. I see you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. If you're having difficulties, maybe we can move on to the next. I think decentralized CEO wanted to go next because he's in a hurry. So until Josie figures his mic issues, maybe we can jump to decentralized CEO.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me well. Discord's been acting funny.
Yeah, we can. Hi.
All right. So I hope everybody's having a good day this Tuesday. It's a pleasure to be here and thank you for the opportunity. I'm not such in a hurry too, so just to let you know, I was having difficulty with Discord. But today I have really two ideas of like two projects that I would love personally to implement OPL on. One is more of a serious matter, and the other one is more of entertainment for a marketing strategy. So I'll kind of focus more on the serious matter. There's a project that we're initiating in rural areas. It's called TAS, Tech and Sun. And basically, it's a solar panel project that's able to distribute power and electricity to to the community, to the surrounding communities. And the whole point of this is basically to help rural areas kind of even out the playing field so they can be able to get the opportunities that we have and be online. And with that said, during the project, we're supposed to be collecting various data from like distribution data and like usage data in the regions that we're working on. And I would love to see that OPL is involved with that because the data that's being collected, it's not really OPL, but mainly like Sapphire. It can be stored on Sapphire confidentially. And the reason it would be confidential because this data will be used for like research purposes for like climate control and energy distribution. And the researchers, they require some of this data to actually make a better decision and work on the things that they're working on to better the lifestyle and better basically the earth. And it would be great if Sapphire is where it will be stored, and then once it's stored, when researchers need this data to access this data to do their research, we can we can actually provide the data to them, but charge a small fee for providing that. And it'll be under a data DAO. And once we do that, the income that we're receiving from sharing these distribution data with them will be in turn given back to the community to better create a better infrastructure for the project. So more of like apart from the prima facie of actually like face value of like being in front like Rose and Oasis and Sapphire in front of everything, I would really love if it's like a business to business transaction where Sapphire and OPL is like the engine of a lot of data DAOs and is the technology behind these projects and organization and DAOs. That way, it's kind of like you doing a case study for like for example like Nvidia. Nvidia, I mean a lot of you probably know what Nvidia is, but not a lot of people know too much what Nvidia is or who they are, but they're really the main engine that's behind a lot of like graphic cards and mining tools and things of that nature. But it seems like it would be a huge a wide adoption if we can strategize like strategically position Sapphire in the core of these data DAOs to be able to be storing their data and in a confidential manner or privatize it. That way, when it's shared and released, we can receive income from that and able to give back to the community that's providing this data to better their lives. That's just a quick pitch of Taz solar panel project. And then on the entertainment aspect for like a marketing strategy, there's an NFT entertainment platform that's being built, and OPL could actually be used as a marketing strategy where like if X amount of people buy like NFT tickets, like NFT tickets in for shows, if like X amount of people buy it, like maybe like the 20th person or the 100th person would get the NFT, would get the ticket for free, or some kind of incentive for people to actually be able to purchase these tickets. But if it wasn't in a confidential manner, if it's not private, then somebody can actually time it and game that system. Like if I say like the 25th person that buys an NFT ticket to I don't know, like let's say Afrobeat, like let's say DeVito's concert or something, can actually wait for the 23rd or 24th person to buy because they can see everything on chain and then go buy it so they can get it for free. But if it's private and not really public initially until the end of the campaign, then they're not able to game that system. So it'll be how would I say, it'll be basically like good faith for them to actually engage and buy the ticket because they want to do it, not just because they're timing and waiting for the right time to get to game the system. So that's kind of like the two pitches I had for the two projects that's being worked on, and I myself am involved with them, and then I'm looking forward to seeing how we can adapt OPL into them. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. Not to get technical, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Thank you, Izzy, decentralized CEO. I think both projects have an interesting aspect of Sapphire that can be leveraged. Data DAOs for sure. I guess the question with data DAOs is always like regarding what the demand for data is. Like absolutely you can grant and revoke access to any sort of data that is your own. But really I guess like there has to be sort of a demand for the data. Someone has to be trying to use your data for some to use it for some sort of purpose.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So I mean, it really depends on if an application can leverage that data and whether there's any sort of demand or marketplace for it. In terms of like the entertainment industry, I've often thought that like confidential NFTs are sort of great for the entertainment industry in the sense that like you can create tickets with like unique codes or something that like is unique to the person who owns the ticket. I guess like one question I would have is like, is there in terms of like you're talking about like the 25th buyer or the 100th buyer? For sure, this is something that's uniquely possible on Sapphire. But is I guess like from a BD perspective, one thing that like we would try to like evaluate uh, is there like a large value proposition in having exactly the 25th or exactly the 100th person buying?
No, no,
Like with the prize, or like could you just say randomly we'll select one of the first 100 buyers, and therefore like you can do it at a later point in time, and you don't need confidentiality, so that people can't
yeah,
find.
you like absolutely. You have a great point there. You can actually say we'll select randomly, right? But if that's the thing about it is like you have to kind of think psychological about it. Like some people can think, is it really random? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Because like if let's say all of us or everybody here is buying the ticket, and I'm like, okay, yeah, the first we'll select randomly the first 100 per like out of the first 100 people, somebody will get a rebate or somebody get it for free. I can easily tell you guys it's random, but then have you get the ticket for free. Have my guys get the ticket for free. But the why Sapphire or OPL would be strategically on point with it is because if we say the 100th buyer, right? Eventually, after the campaign is over, we can actually show proof that it when we on the administrative side is not gaming the system. You know what I mean? So we can actually show, hey, this was actually the 100th buyer, but we didn't show you guys, so you don't go game the system. But if we say random, we can say random, but I mean, we're human. We can also like pick one person and then call it random. Want somebody that pick somebody that's one of our favorites and call it random. That's kind of a thing. It's kind of like it gives it like a on it gives an honest opinion, not opinion, but honest view on both parties. It kind of holds both parties accountable, not only the administrative aspect, but the community too. Holds both of us accountable, so we're not just saying anything and just doing anything. That's why I think it would be really strategic if that can happen with using OPL, because not only with OPL is probably, but the administrator or the devs can actually reveal what they want to reveal. So you can time where it's confidential, but then after the campaign is over and reveal the whole results. So true, everybody will see. Okay, that truly was the 100 person that got that incentive. So that's why I was thinking it would be great to use that instead of just verbalizing it. More like a validation and holds both parties accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think VRF, verifiable randomness exists on a lot of other chains, but often it requires oracles. And so one of the unique aspects of Sapphire is that it's possible to have verifiable randomness (RNG) native to the Oasis network. And so like for something that like this where you want to sort of either hide like how many transactions have occurred so that you're giving it to exactly the 100th user, or you want to verify like that it was truly random. Both are interesting use cases for Oasis Sapphire as well as OPL. Like you can broadcast it to other networks as well. I don't know if it necessarily be cheaper than using an Oracle, but it'd probably be comparable. So yeah, both are great
And
use
me
cases.
not being a straight dev, more like a project manager, like that's something that we would go over with like the devs. So it's just an idea that's being worked on. So yeah, I really see it shaping up in the near future. Thank you for the opportunity, guys.
Thank you so much, Izzy, for sharing this, and thank you, Will. I guess we can jump on to our next guest. Josie, did you manage to solve the mic issue?
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. That's good. That's good. Thank you for the privilege given unto me to just teach my idea. Actually, I believe it's gonna be a game changer if we can integrate with robot cache, because I did a lot of research regarding the complaint. Robocachi is actually one of the was the first. It's actually the world's first PC game marketplace where gamers can actually play, earn, and sell their digital games through a blockchain solution. So, so I believe if Savvy Network actually unlock the ability for the users to monetize their achievements, so it will actually be great, and it will actually boost the massive adoption uh, concerning regarding social networks actually boost massive adoption as well. So, and secondly, if we can actually partner with Skybridge Capital just to expand the OPL global footprint and strengthen his role, just to promote the global adoption of the blockchain technology as well. And consider the Amazon Web Service as well, AWS, which will actually give developers and organization building on the server network the ability to direct deployed node infrastructures and also design private network for products, just texting via Amazon Web Services. So that's the only three ideas I have. Yeah.
Thanks, Jossie. Just one thing. I'm looking at the summary. So Robot Cash, this is actually a live game already that's working, that's deployed, or in what stage that is?
Yeah, the working is a company, not just an organization, whereby they enhance the users to play games at hand using their platform. So if you can integrate with the company as well, it will enhance users to be able to play at hand, as in to
I'm
monetize their
not
values.
hearing you well. Maybe it's my setup. This is a live game with a lot of users, and they're trying to monetize.
Yeah,
Are they
yeah,
deployed on any blockchain
yeah,
already? Oh, but where
yeah,
are they
on the
deployed
blockchain.
now?
Yeah, exactly, sir.
Where are they deployed now?
Sorry. No, when it actually when it actually integrate, we have to
This
integrate
is your
Safi
game.
network with them. So as in we have to just have to.
Is this your game, or I'm
Sorry,
not
what is
hearing really
happening
well,
from?
and I'm trying. I'm having trouble to grab the concept here. So this is your game, Robot Cash. Okay, I understand now. So
Yeah,
this is your game, and what features of Sapphire are you looking to utilize within the game? Because like play and earn sell, that can be done basically on any chain, right? I'm just curious to see what's the limitation with other
yeah,
blockchains
it's yeah,
that Sapphire solves.
Yeah, it's actually okay. RoboCatcher is a game distribution platform. It's a platform whereby gamers, I mean, lovers of games can actually play games at hand through it. They can actually monetize their achievements. So if you can incorporate with the robot cache, I think it's gonna go in a long way, and it's gonna be a game changer for Savvy Network.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not hearing you well, really. Maybe if Will, can you jump in if you're having better.
Sorry,
No,
I
I
can
also
hear you.
have
Yeah,
trouble hearing you.
Yeah, I'm having
yeah, I
trouble
can hear you now,
understanding
sir.
when you're explaining what RoboCache is. I'm having trouble understanding what's the aspect here. What's the angle of how Sapphire is utilized or OPL is utilized to bring a feature, to bring the unique features and maybe overcome some limitations of other blockchains within the platform.
Oh, okay, I understand you now. Actually, robot catcher platform they actually make use of blockchain technology to maintain
Okay, but
game ownership.
can this be achieved with either Ethereum,
Are you getting me
Polygon,
now?
BNB?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I think
yeah.
we're gonna have to
Ethereum,
move to the next one for this, and then maybe
Ethereum.
we can get some feedback in written. It's gonna be easier to digest it there and include you in the final judging like that. Thank you, Jossie. Thank you, Jossie. And I'm gonna have to say goodbye because I need to
Okay,
jump
all
on
right.
another call. So thank you everyone for joining. Stay on. It's only me. I'm leaving. Yeah, there are I think more pitches left. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mate, for joining us. You've been amazing today. And thank you, Jesse, for your idea. Yeah, we can take it offline and get some additional feedback for you. Uh, I had trouble hearing you as well, so in written form, I think it would be better. Okay, who's next? Dimwigi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah, sorry. That is a handle. My name is Migui Dongo, as the
Okay,
icon says. Yes. Am I
nice
loud
to
and
meet you.
clear to everyone? Yeah, nice to meet you too. Yes, this is my first time joining these calls, and I've missed a lot. And I have an idea to share. On my end, I've been conceptualizing an idea on how we can solve the issues that all cryptocurrencies generally try to solve, which is the issue of trust. And I came up with a concept whereby a concept of a trust organization. And how I'm applying it on Sapphire is that I'm applying the trust organization in a bond issuance system. And the purpose of the trust organization is to filter out the users, such that in case we have people who are anonymous or people who are malicious in the system, they cannot be allowed to access the actual bond issuance systems. Once the users have now accessed the bond issuance system, they can engage the conversation there with each other without having to actually identify who you're actually talking with before, because every user who has access to the system has been vetted by a trust organization. How I'm applying Sapphire OPL is that I'm using the features of the cheap cost of transactions and the fast block time, whereby also the privacy feature of OSL, whereby users can safely communicate with people from all walks of lives without necessarily having to care who exactly the actual identity of the person that you're dealing with, because you're sure this person was vetted by someone who is trustworthy. That's my idea.
Got it. So I guess like what part of that requires the privacy? Like, yeah, I understand like that you're vetting. Are you
Yes.
confidentially vetting people, or like what
So
part is requiring confidentiality?
so my solution is two parts that interact with each other so that they can work as expected. On the Sapphire end, that is where the bond issuance or people like submit their ideas that they want to be funded, and then people can log in and apply to subscribe to the bond, and that happens on the Sapphire end. On the trust organization end is whereby people who are joining the bond issue systems are filtered. So what this happens is that the trust goes both ways. It's a two-way traffic whereby users who are vetted uh, to join the bond issuance systems give trust to the trust organization, and the trust organization delegate the same trust to the new users that it allows to join the system. So in case one of the trust organizations allows a malicious person to join the system and they are identified, what happens is that the trust organization that vetted them and allowed them to join the system is penalized, and probably users who have been vetted by that trust organizations will be requested to be vetted by another trust organization for them to proceed. So this is a two-way traffic whereby the trust organization and the bond system kind of interact together. They don't exist in isolation.
So I guess what you're saying is the sort of the Kickstarter, or like what is being pitched is kept private, and basically you only can gain access to it if you've been vetted by another trust organization or something along those lines. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Yeah, I think in general, like this sort of ability to create like confidential data, which has like the ability to grant and revoke access, as well as like sort of create these uh gated communities or gated information. That's a
Yes.
great use for Sapphire. In
Yes.
sort of Web
Yes.
three,
That's
this is not something that's possible on other networks, but is for sure something that's possible on Sapphire.
yes.
And it can be, like you said, like it can be like a Kickstarter campaign if you're like worried about the fact that like your idea might be sort of poached, or it can
Okay.
even be like sort of like a Patreon or something along those lines, where like you have just
Yeah.
content that you want only your most loyal fans to have access to. All these
Yes.
are sort of great ideas.
Yeah. The other feature about what I'm hoping to do is the people who are interacting on the bond issue system don't necessarily need to know who they are dealing with. Like, identity of the other person is not your primary concern. Your primary concern is verifying what they're talking about. If they are pitching about an idea, maybe about building the biggest hospital in the country or in the world, you're not evaluating whether the person who is talking about the idea is valid. You're evaluating the idea. So that is what I'm hoping to achieve. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I think whether it be a pitch for an idea, whether it be like I said, content from a social media creator, like anything that involves like gated communities, I think
Yes.
is a great case for Sapphire, like a gated
Okay.
uh, form of information. And I think in Web 2, there's like lots of use cases for something like that.
Yeah.
Like Patreon, not Patreon, Kickstarter or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of places where there's innovation that can be used in Web
Okay.
three to offer these sort of Web 2 functionalities and get us in the same place.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, I think we have our final guest. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Crypto Daily Show, yeah. We can hear you, but your volume is very, very low.
Good day. So
Hi.
I'll go straight to the idea at hand, and that's the fact that most of these Web3 based socials and communities are built or are built on Web2 based the apps, right? Currently, we're using Discord. So we have Discord communities, we have Telegram communities, we have the rest of it. What if someone could actually start building something that's tailored for Web3, right? What if someone can actually start building something that is tailored for Web3? One of the issues we constantly have on Discord here is hacks, right? And when these hacks come up, there have been no improvements or no like, let me say, an improvement on the fact, okay, something has happened. How can we make sure it doesn't repeat itself? So it keeps repeating itself, NFT hacks, and a whole lot of it. And that's because Discord is actually built for Web2. So I actually looked at the fact that we could use Sapphire to build a Web3 based social, We could use it for KYCs. For instance, we have these Twitter verifications. What if you doing your a privacy based KYC, right, gives you a verification badge, and so you're a community leader and people say, okay, this person has actually done KYC and that person has a verification badge, right? And that KYC, it's still without you disclosing your information publicly. That's one of it. You could also use your wallet address as your logins or whatsoever. We could have chat boxes, audio calls, video calls, and this would also help projects effectively do their airdrops and whatever they need to do on that platform, because that platform is tailored and built for with Web3 in mind, right? And also have those APIs available for developers to constantly improve on the platform. And also looking at a user-friendly interface, because having a user-friendly interface will help newbies, Web3 newbies, to easily onboard on the social app. So basically, that's just it. It may not be the next. It might take time. It might not necessarily become the best all of a sudden, but I think it's eventually coming that we'll get to realize that the Web2 based chat boxes or community apps we are using is not effective enough for Web3. And I believe that Sapphire is the best platform to actually start building that, even though it could eventually become a multi-chain, but building it on Sapphire would give it the privacy that would actually be needful and acceptable by Web3 users. That's basically the idea. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Web3 social media is like sort of been a long promised industry in the Web3 space, but it hasn't really taken off yet. And I think one of the reasons for that is exactly what you said, like it's like sort of privacy. I don't know if like chat boxes, voice calls and these types of things, are the best use case for Sapphire. Blockchains don't exactly store data very well. But what you could do is you can use Sapphire as like a key manager, in order to like you can have your data sort of stored in an encrypted IPFS where access is controlled by a key in a Sapphire smart contract, which like the permissions to access that content is granted and revoked via a smart contract, so it's entirely automated. And yeah, I think this is like a super interesting idea. I think right now probably the most prominent key manager that is leveraged by products trying to do something like this is called Lit Protocol. But Lit Protocol uses like threshold encryption. It's not exactly like very EVM compatible, as well as like it doesn't necessarily have like great guarantees for granting and revoking. It's sort of like if you have access once, you can kind of get access indefinitely, as well as like if you want to do any sort of off-chain computation on that data, it becomes fairly difficult. So yeah, Sapphire is very good at key management, as well as these use cases involved in like creating Web3 social media. Like for example, like if you think about like Facebook or Twitter, like you have the ability to block someone, right? That's like not possible on any other blockchain. But Sapphire, it would actually be possible to say like this person can access my content, that person cannot. And yeah, so I would love to see people sort of explore this idea of how you can leverage the Sapphire Key Manager to create a Web3 social media, and like honestly, like Opal is sort of this modular idea where you're leveraging multiple blockchains. I think a Web3 social media is like the ultimate modular idea. Like you'll probably use IPFS for data. You'll probably use Arbitrum. You'll probably use for scalability. You'll probably use Oasis for privacy. Like I think something along those lines is exactly like sort of in the Oasis vision.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining. I know it's not easy to speak on stage, but thank you everyone for joining and sharing your ideas. Of course, as I said, we'll run a vote in the community afterwards. We'll do some short summaries of everyone's ideas. We'll share the recording as well. So for those of you who weren't able to join at the beginning of the event, we'll have the full context and they can properly cast their votes. Will, it was lovely having you here today with us, as always.
Yeah, thank you everybody for your pitches. I'm sorry that I had like some technical difficulties at the beginning, but I think Matei handled it beautifully, and yeah, I'm excited to, I'm glad that so many people showed up, pitched about like their different ideas regarding Sapphire, and I hope that our hackathon has some interesting ideas that we can, share with you in the future.
Will, actually, I think we have one more guest, and I know he registered for this, so do we have time to welcome him on stage?
Yeah, sure.
I have 10 more minutes till I need to jump into a meeting, so Hollywood Clapperboards. Let's invite him on stage. I see he lowered his hand, but maybe he'll see the message in the chat. Let's give it a second, Will. I see he's typing, so. Okay, I see it's not working out for him. For some reason, the button to accept is not working. So, yeah, maybe we can share his idea in the community afterwards, and he can be part of the voting process.
Yeah, absolutely. type up like a short description of what you're proposing, and yeah, I'd be happy to sort of give feedback and share my thoughts.
We already have your proposal when you signed up for the form, so I think we're all good. Yeah, in other news, if you're not aware, we're gonna be at DevCon in Berlin. So if you're in Berlin during DevCon, feel free to stop by our booth and we can chat. We'd love to meet more members from our community. And stay tuned for announcements because we're gonna have a big announcement during DevCon. So I won't spoil anything, but it's gonna be great. And until September 13th, you can still register for the hackathon. So there's still enough time, I would say. And as always, join our socials to stay up with the latest announcements. We're always making announcements on Twitter, here in the community, on Discord, on Telegram. So if you join our socials, you're sure you won't miss anything. Again, thank you, Will. Thank you to everyone who got up on stage and pitched their ideas. I think it was an amazing event. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.